In the 1960s, if Memphis was the soulful city that gave voice and rhythm to legendary singers and musicians, then Stax Records on Macklemore and College was the studio that gave birth to musicians like James Alexander, hoping for their big break into music.
Alex, I started out, believe it or not, as a gopher. You know, you had Al Jackson, you had Duck Don, you had Steve Cropper and Booker T. Well, I ended up being a gopher really more or less for Duck.
Alexander turned being a gopher into playing bass guitar for some of Stax's biggest artists like Isaac Hayes, David Porter, and Carla Thomas, and eventually formed his own integrated instrumental band made up of black and white musicians called the Bar-Kays.
When we walked through those doors, man, you would not believe this. We didn't think about black or white. We just wanted to come in there, man, and create some good down-home music, man.
They represented the integrated mindset at Stax, despite being located in a thoroughly segregated city.
We are saying that we are God's children.
A city dealing with issues that attracted the attention of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
The day that Dr. Martin Luther King was killed, we were in the studio. In fact, we had to spend the night in the studio because when we tried to go home, they had National Guards posted right outside of Stax, right at the corner of College and Macklemore.
As the nation watched the racial tension in Memphis and other southern cities, the Bar-Kays were getting noticed on the charts with his hit called Soul Finger, and they were tapped to go on tour and perform with Stax's biggest star, Otis Redding. But with success came unthinkable tragedy.
Man, that was probably, looking back on it, that was probably one of the most trying times in my entire life. I mean, just the fact of being with all of these guys one day and, laughing and talking like we always do. And then the next day, it's all gone.
The plane carrying Redding and many of the Bar-Kays crashed in Wisconsin. Trumpet player Ben Colley was the only survivor. James Alexander was not on the flight, but was devastated nonetheless.
That was a dramatic, traumatic experience, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I mean, but it's just, there's an old saying, the man upstairs don't put any more on you than you can bear.
Ben Colley and James Alexander vowed to put together a new Bar-Kays, and later they added a singer named Larry Dotson.
I was very surprised, first of all, that they would even want to have a lead singer, but I didn't think I was good enough. I had no experience in the studio. I did not know that they were already planning to record an album.
The album was called Black Rock, and the band's popularity took flight, especially after they were featured center stage at Stax in Los Angeles.
I'm the son of a bitch!
We were already always edgy. We were always edgy. We stayed, you don't know what these guys are gonna look like when we come out. And musically, we were edgy too.
And their music could push the envelope, like their controversial song called Holy Ghost.
The Holy Ghost got us in a lot of trouble, the preachers and the men of cloth and ministry, they just did not like us doing that. And that song stayed on the shelf for years. We couldn't release it.
When it was released, it went to the top of the charts, along with dozens of other hits such as Shake Your Rump to the Funk, Freak Show, Anticipation, and many others. And now, 50 years later, the Bar-Kays have not missed a step. They're still touring and performing classic and new hits such as Grown Folks and Up and Down.
Sounds like you're still having a funky good
time, man.
Alex Coleman, WRAG-TV, News Channel 3.